Hey everyone, it's Alexis here. Hope you're having a really lovely day. Now, I just wanted to put together this really quick training on basically what is a lead magnet, what's it all about, why do I need it in my business, and what's the actual purpose of it. Mainly because it is a question I get asked over and over again, and it's something that unless you have a marketing background or you've been lucky enough to be part of maybe like entrepreneurial, sorry, I can't even say that word, spark, then it means that you probably have never heard of a lead magnet. You don't understand what it is and why it's really important to have within your business, and how it will affect your business in a really positive way if done properly, that is. So I thought I would put together this little training just to take you through the basics of it, and hopefully by the end it'll just be a little bit clearer in your head about the why and what they're all about. So I'll get started. So first of all, before we actually speak about lead magnets, so what is a lead? So typically it's a person, it's a customer for your business. So it's a person that might buy from you, and they might purchase that product or that service, but what we definitely want them to do is to buy that product or that service from you and not anyone else, because as you'll know yourself, with the way things are now with business and products and services, it's so much more easily accessible. So if you're looking at some particular product, for instance, it's a beauty product, it's a new mascara, for instance. Now, there's nothing to say that yours isn't as good as the next person's, but if their marketing efforts is better, then the likelihood is they will capture that customer for that mascara and you won't. So this is what we want to do. We want to make sure that these people are going to buy from you because they're aware of you, they've been nurtured by you, they understand who you are, and I mean you as in you as a person or you as a business as well. So it makes sure that you're going to attract the right leads as well, so the leads that are actually interested in buying what your product or your service is, because at the end of the day, that's what we want, isn't it? We don't want people being attracted to us who have no use or no need for mascara, men for instance, or most men should I say, so it needs to be attracting the right ones at the same time. So also it helps you understand who your potential customers are, so you need to do a wee bit of research. So start with your existing customer base and profile them if you find it difficult to think outside the box and think about who your dream customer, dream client may be. Now, this part of the process is super important. This is where you'll really determine what it is you're actually going to build for your lead magnet. Now, as I say, if you've already got a bit of a customer base, then you can profile them and see. So profiling them is, are they male or are they female? What age group do they come into? What would be likely to be their likes? So obviously you're profiling them, and that's not to say that you're going to get everything absolutely spot on or it's going to be the case for every single person. But if you think about it, if you think, say for instance, you're selling an anti-aging skincare set program. Now, the likelihood is that person is going to be in their 30s, maybe early 30s, upwards towards the kind of more mid-50s, say. Sometimes above, sometimes a little bit below, but generally we're in that kind of bracket. Now, who is that person? It's a woman, 9 times out of 10. They're likely to have a family. So let's start to think about, in terms of where do they holiday? So where are they hanging about online? Do they hang about on certain websites? Do they like certain pages? What's their spending habits? Do they splurge on stuff, or are they quite conservative with their spending? You really need to go into all the ins and outs of who your sort of dream customer client is, and by using your existing customer base, that will definitely help you as well. So it gives you a better picture of who buys from you, but then also gives you that picture of who you can target in your marketing efforts. So when you're thinking about building lead magnets, you have to have that person in mind, because that is who you're wanting to attract at the end of the day. And also a really good tip for that as well, and you can do this with your existing customer base, or if you maybe are a service-based business and you have a community on Facebook, then you can also use that as well, but you would want to survey them or poll them to get a better idea of maybe what it is they're looking for, as we'll go back to the anti-aging skincare. So what are they using currently? Let's find out what they're using. So once you find out what they're using, it means then you can get an idea of what they spend. You know, what's their budget? What do they normally spend? What are they finding as their challenges with what they're already using, you know, X, Y, Z. So you really kind of want to survey that person, understand their spending habits a little bit more, understand their pain points with certain things or what they're really loving and all of that. So that's a really, really good top tip. In terms of surveys, you can use an online program called Typeform. So that's Typeform, and it is free for the most part. It'll allow you to create a basic survey anyway. Or as I said, if you're on Facebook and you have a community, then you can use the little poll option, or certainly on Instagram, you can also use a poll option. So there's different ways to be able to capture information about what that person's spending habits and what they're liking, disliking, etc. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview about that lead. But the main point to take away from that is you really need to understand who it is you're actually trying to attract, who's going to be ultimately your customer that's going to want to buy the product or the service that you are offering. So what is a lead magnet? So now that you know what a lead is, let's move on. So simply, it's a piece of content that draws the type of leads that you want into your business. It's a way for you to identify potential customers. So lead magnets obviously come in all different shapes and sizes, but at the end of the day, a lead magnet is something that you can put out there of value, information that you will exchange for an email address from that lead. So things like one-page PDFs are really good, ebooks are really good, a video, a webinar, all of these things. But bear in mind, when you are building a lead magnet, it's supposed to be a taster of what's to offer. So for instance, if you were going to make an ebook and you were targeting, maybe you were a health professional or you had nutritional products or something like that, then you could create an ebook that would give that person a taster into what it is that you offer or whatever your end product is. So you don't want to give everything away in a lead magnet. However, you do want it to be good valuable content, so that when that person has actually exchanged their email address to receive your lead magnet, when they receive it, they're going to be super impressed about how, I can't believe that's for free. So if that's for free, then what's the next step? You know, what else have they got to offer, sort of idea. So do you see where I'm going with that? So it's got to be something good content, good value, but also not giving away absolutely everything, because you can lead on after that. So I'm sure you obviously think of others, but they're the kind of main ones that we're kind of looking at. A webinar would be really handy if you're in network marketing and you maybe wanted to present your opportunity. I know that a lot of network marketers do sort of business, sort of company ones. However, it doesn't mean you can't develop your own webinar branded with your own business, etc. So just something to think about, or obviously you could do that in a video or even an ebook as well. But popular things at the minute are obviously recipe books, recipe cards. The one-page PDF could be something like a swipe file, so it could be some valuable information that the person could literally just take and use. So things like, in the past, I have created lead magnets that are hashtag swipe files, because that's something that is valuable to a lot of people. They want to be able to copy and paste a whole load of hashtags without having to do all the research for it, and it's just there for them to use. So that's what a one-page PDF would come in really handy for. So what you offer should be valuable enough for the person to want it badly, so that they will give you your details in return. Because at the end of the day, and you'll know this yourself, we don't just readily give our emails out. You know, we're not just wanting to give it out left, right and centre, because you know what your own inbox is like. It can be inundated with stuff, and it can be inundated with stuff that you're not really interested in, and it just clogs it up, and it is quite annoying. So ultimately you want that person to want and be really interested in what you're offering, because it means then that the chances of them tuning into what you've got to say is much, much higher. So a lead magnet also means no selling. It's not an opportunity for you to sell your product. in the traditional way. It's an opportunity to showcase what you have got to offer, what your information, your knowledge, your experience, your skills, all of these things. So keep that in mind. It's not an actual selling tool right up front. It's supposed to just be a magnet to draw those people into your email list that are interested, that will be ultimately interested in what your product or your service eventually is when you get to that point. So what you put in your lead magnet needs to be informative, as I've said. It needs to solve a problem that your target audience is experiencing. So when you put together a lead magnet, think about your audience's pain points and think about, ask yourself, can I solve them? How can I solve them? So your audience pain points could be the fact that they are a busy working family, they don't have time to necessarily cook up really complicated recipes. Week to week, they want something that's really quick, really easy, not massive amounts of ingredients to be bought. So this could be something that you could create that would be, you know, really quick, simple, you know, no need for lengthy shopping lists, you know, blah, 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 blah. You're going to solve that pain point because you're going to offer them in an ebook a few recipes that they can make that the whole family would eat, and that they also don't need to, one, spend a fortune on buying all the ingredients, or two, have a huge shopping list for it. So do you see what I mean by that pain point? So once you understand who your audience is, you can then start to identify what the problems may be there, and then ask yourself, are you solving them in your lead magnet? If you can say yes, then you have a great lead magnet, and that's when your conversion for your leads is going to be higher. So why do you need a lead magnet? Okay, so this is the question that I get time and time again, because it's alien to most people until you start speaking to me, hanging about with me, who talks about lead magnets all the time. I'm a bit obsessed by lead magnets, and I'm a bit obsessed by growing my own email list. Then you've probably never heard of it. You don't really know what it's all about. So why do you need a lead magnet? So once a person has given you permission to email them, that means that you can build a relationship with them, and you can nurture that relationship, because you'll see towards the end I'm going to show you a digital marketing sales funnel and what that actually looks like. But there is actually a process that you take everyone, and this is every business on every level. This is not just small businesses, this is huge businesses, corporate businesses, everybody. There is a process. If you are ultimately selling a product or a service, there is a process that you have to take people through. Now, it's something that you as an individual, you will go through this process probably multiple times a day, but you just don't realize it because it's kind of subconscious to you. You don't understand the process of how it all works. But there is a process. People don't just see something and click to buy it instantly. Some people do, but they might seem to, but that's a very, very small minority. The majority of people will go on a process, and as I said, you'll see, and I'll explain that a little bit more towards the end. But this is where you can build a relationship and nurture them, and this is when they go into the consideration phase. So the consideration phase is getting to know you a bit better, getting to know your business, your product, starting to develop a little bit of trust in your whole setup, your business and everything. And it is a bit of a kind of cliche, but people really do buy people. So you have to then, that's the process of taking them into that email list and nurturing them, keeping them warm, making sure that it's not all just sell. It's not about that. It's about nurturing that relationship. Particularly if you are an only person. If you are you, then it's really, really important. So here is the thing. So if I actually did have £1 for every small business owner who told me that social media is how they get customers, or how you would go about getting customers, then I would be in the Maldives right now, and I would be sipping a lovely cocktail on my own, having the most peaceful, luxurious holiday known to man. That's where I want to be right now. And if I had £1 for every person that said that, and listen, don't worry, because that is completely normal. Similar to the lead magnet setup, if you haven't had a marketing background, if you haven't been lucky enough to be on a business course or anything like that, then you will just assume that you have a product or a service and you pop it on social media and you advertise it, and that's it. Then you should just get customers coming to your door, coming to your website, and flowing and flowing and flowing. But unfortunately, it just doesn't really work like that. So also, the biggest thing that you have to also realise is the fact that we don't own any social network, and it could disappear tomorrow, taking your audience that you've worked hard to build. Let's say, for instance, Instagram, because I'm pretty sure we're all on Instagram, and we're all pretty obsessed with growing that number of the followers and the likes and the engagement and all of that, which is great and is really important and is brilliant and will definitely create that awareness that you need to create about your business. However, what happens? The algorithms change, things completely change, and actually, let's face it, it could just disappear tomorrow, you know. Unlikely, obviously. Facebook and Instagram, I think, are pretty much here for the foreseeable. But look at Twitter. Look at the kind of the love for Twitter sort of dwindling slightly, and it is much more about the Pinterest and the Instagram and Facebook and all of that side of things. But it could disappear tomorrow, or as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, Facebook have decided that really your business page is going to see zero organic reach. Now, really what we were getting was probably about 2% if we were lucky, let's face it. But now we're getting really next to nothing. So if you had been a person a couple of years ago that had put in lots and lots of effort into growing your Facebook business page, thinking that that was going to be the place that you were going to attract all your customers and they were going to come and spend all their money with you, then it's pretty much kind of useless now, isn't it? So these things will change and they will evolve, and algorithms will change, and your engagement will drop, and people, less and less people will start to see your page and see your products and all of that. However, an email list is yours. Once you have it, it's yours. So obviously, people can unsubscribe, and that's going to happen. That's always going to happen. But the biggest majority of people won't, especially if you nurture them and build that relationship properly and don't spam it. Also, you know, it's not an email list to send out, you know, 3 emails every day and throw your products in people's faces. That's not the point either. But keeping it warm, keeping it, you know, letting them get to know you and what you're doing and all of these things, then an email list is yours, that you have a bit more control over whether your email gets seen or not. So it's not a case of pop it out there on social media and let's just hope that the algorithm will deliver it to the right people. Let's just pray, but then that really doesn't actually happen. So also a wee fact, did you know that email converts 3 times as much as social media? So if you put in as much effort as what you're putting into social media into your email list, then I guarantee your sales and your conversions and your leads and everything will be 3 times higher, if not a bit more. So focusing on growing your email list will give you a ready-made pool of customers, potential customers. That's not a bad thing, is it? We want a funnel, a packed, think about it, a packed funnel full of people who are actually interested in what you've got to sell or what you're offering. That's what you want. We don't want to just be throwing it out on social media and hoping that we're going to hit those people, because that's really what we're doing, isn't it? It's just hoping that it's going to get delivered in front of the right people. So in fact, it's how you will actually grow your business. So an email list is how you will grow your business, not social media, unfortunately. Social media does have a part to play. It creates great awareness. If you're using it properly, then it is amazing. It's an amazing free tool, essentially. But an email list is how you're actually going to grow your business. Because you have a new product or service to promote, your list is going to be ready to listen to you. They're going to be interested to hear what your new product or service is, because they are already opted in, because you have brought them into that list via your lead magnet, which is something that they're interested in, rather than just a group of people who could be completely uninterested in what you've got to say, really, let's face it. So they already know, they like, they trust you, they understand your business, they've seen things before. Then when you launch that new product, that service, there's people there ready to listen to what you've got to say and ready to buy it. So hopefully that sort of gives you a good idea about why. So why do you need that lead magnet? That's the process. The lead magnet is to draw people into your email list who are ready to buy what you are going to ultimately be offering in the future. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. So how do you create a lead magnet? So we've already spoke about, what could they be? So they could be an ebook, they could be a webinar, etc., one-page PDF, etc. But there's loads of different ways. But personally, my favourite is Canva. It is super easy to use. It's drag and drop interface, which once you get used to it a little bit, it is super easy to use. It's like a graphic design tool made for non-graphic designers, basically. So on there, you can make your one-page PDFs, you can make your ebooks. There's amazing templates to do that. So it's a case of literally just swapping over images, maybe changing up the font, changing some colours, and then adding in your text. And before you know it, you've got a really professional looking ebook, PDF, or whatever, recipe card or anything that you want to make. So when you go onto Canva, there's a part that will say templates, and it means that you can browse through all the different templates and get some inspiration. But also Microsoft Word, you can create PDFs as well, but I would still say I would go into Canva because it means that you can brand it really easily. And it's just much more easy to use for sure. So for an ebook, then as I said, you could hire a graphic designer if you've got the budget, then amazing, takes that off your hands. But also Canva is really, really good. And once you get to grips with it, you can actually make things up pretty quickly, which is good. Webinars, you can create really easy webinars. At the minute, I'm on Zoom. This is my chosen platform. I really love Zoom. It's really for the purpose of what you would be using it for, it's free. So you can go on and record a really slick webinar, a bit like this. Basically, I've made my templates in Keynote because I'm a Mac user, and PowerPoint is the other one, isn't it? So you could make really nice slides. Pretty simple, they don't need to be overly complicated, but you can also brand them slightly and just make them look like you. But there's also GoToWebinar, but personally I love Zoom. So if video was your choice, then there's lots and lots of free apps and different programs that you can use. Lumen 5 is a really, really good one. Can create your own video really quickly. There's also ones called Adobe Spark, which is really good. So you can actually create a video from images as well. It doesn't necessarily need to be something that you record from start to finish, so you can get quite creative with it. But in terms of actual lead magnets that's going to be something that they can download, then Canva is definitely your go-to place. So remember this. So the reason that you're creating that lead magnet is to capture people's details to grow your email list. Now, above all else in your business, your email list should be the main focus, not your social media, your email list. Obviously, as I said, social media is important. You need to create that awareness, and that this is what I'm going to speak about in a minute, that will create that awareness for people to then opt into your lead magnet. So they need a way to do that. So once you've created that one-page PDF or your ebook, you can use different platforms to host it basically. Now, MailChimp, which is an automated email marketing system, which is awesome, have actually launched their own lead pages within MailChimp. It means that you can create a really simple, it essentially looks like a one-page website. That's what it looks like. So you can create this one-page website that you can host your PDF or your ebook in there. And it's just super easy to use. Again, it's a drag and drop interface, a bit like Canva, so you don't need to be really techy to use it. Just have a little play about with it, get used to it, upload some of your images in there, and it's just remove the text, add in what you want to say. But then there's also a program called Lead Pages, which is a little bit more advanced. Still really, really easy to use, but I would say that's a step up. Once you get used to using the lead pages within MailChimp, then you can take a step up to that. But there's also something called Privy, which is like a program that you can install, which means it will pop up on your website also. So if you have a website and you want a pop-up that basically says, opt in to get my free ebook or whatever it may be, then you can use that as well, which is really good. And as I'd mentioned, the two webinar tools are GoToWebinar and Zoom. Zoom being probably the easiest one to use. It's really good and really easy, straightforward. So the beauty of using tools like these to capture people's details on the registration page that you create, but don't be tempted to ask too much information. Generally, an email address and a first name is probably about maximum that you really need. You don't need to get loads and loads of details, because you know what it's like. People want to just fire in their email address and off it goes, and they get what you've been offering, get your lead magnet over to you, because people get put off with lengthy ones. If you're going to create a video, then you would need to host it somewhere. So you would host it in like MailChimp in the Lead Pages, or in Lead Pages itself, like I had mentioned. I have actually created some training for MailChimp and the landing pages within there. So I'll be able to post that as well if you're wanting to move forward with this and actually create your own lead magnets. So did you forget something? So this is the point that I think a lot of people get a bit stuck. It's like, okay, so I've got my lead magnet, I've created it, it looks amazing. It's all firing all cylinders. I know who it's going to, X, Y, and Z, but what do I do with it now? So basically, your lead magnet is important, but you need to promote it. So this is what I was saying about, this is where the social media side of things comes into play, because that awareness about your lead magnet is really important, because you can't create it and just let it sit there and then all of a sudden your email list is going to grow in hundreds, because that's not going to happen. It's something that you're going to have to promote time and time again. So after you've after you collect all those email addresses, you can still promote it, and then you can also obviously create new lead magnets to attract new people or different people into your email list. So you share in social media, you create eye-catching posts for it, which again you can do in Canva. Make the call to action on your blog posts really strong. So if you're blogging for your business, you must always have an opt-in to get into your newsletter, to download your free lead magnet, etc., etc. It's really important. When someone's took the time to read your blog, they're interested in what you've got to say, so you're looking to capture their information off the back of that. And don't forget to tell your email list as well. You know, if you've already got an email list, then make sure you're telling them regularly as well that there's different things there. You already have their details, but they're engaged. And it's another way to be able to provide value, information, and build the relationship there. You can also add a link in your email signature. I've got one in mine on my Gmail account, which is good. So there's something that people can click on all the time. You can change the cover images on your social networks to tell people about your valuable content as well. So you could have that about, download my free ebook now, X, Y, and Z, anything like that. But then also, these are obviously all the kind of free options. You then have something which I won't go into today because it's too lengthy, but Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads in the back office of Facebook ads, not the boosted post, is an amazing place to be able to run an advertising campaign, basically. And an advertising campaign doesn't need to be a lot of money, but you just need to know who you're putting your lead magnet in front of so that your conversion rate is really high. But as I say, it's not something that I can go into today because it's quite a lot of in-depth information. But they're all the different ways that you basically get your lead magnet out there and you start to build that email list. So here it is. So this just gives you a little bit of an idea of the buyer's journey. Now this is the same for everyone, and it's a funnel that you will be in yourself at lots of different segments. So you'll be someone that will maybe come into a funnel, but then you'll drop out of it because you're ultimately not interested. Or you'll go through that whole funnel and then you'll eventually make a purchase. So the awareness section up at the top there, that sort of yellow-orange section, it tells you there it's your blogging, it's your social media, all of that, anything that you can basically do, your Facebook ads, any sort of traditional marketing if you're doing it, anything like that, that's your awareness stage. But this is where people then think that the awareness stage, the social media stage, then people automatically go to the red stage there at the bottom, right down sales, decision made, and they forget this big chunk in the middle, which is really important. So this is where you have to take people through that process. So you can see there on the left hand side there's the awareness stage, consideration stage. This is when they're in your email list, so they're seeing stuff from you, They're learning a little bit more about you. They've maybe gone on and had a look at your website. They've maybe had a look at all your different social media platforms. They're starting to build an idea about who you are, who your business is, your product. And they're making all these decisions kind of subconsciously sometimes, you know, just through that whole process. But that process is so important. It's then and only then will people drop through to the decision making stage, which is the stage that you want them to be at now. You know, you want, like, come on, you've seen my post on Facebook, like, come and buy it. But that just doesn't happen. So having that process, so that's where the lead magnet comes into play. So you, up at the top there, you generate opt-ins, and then it's just a process of nurturing, educating, providing value, building that list, building that email list. Because as I'd said before, social media could disappear completely tomorrow. The algorithms can change completely. It means that none of your posts will be seen by half of the people that you have built as your followers, etc., etc. So please just understand that social media is not the be all and end all. It is important, but having an engaged list of people that are interested in what your actual product and service is far, far more important, and it's something that you're going to own moving forward. So hopefully, guys, that has just gave you a bit of an overview, but also kind of, you know, made you realise how important that whole funnel is. You know, it's not something that it's something for somebody else, and it's not really for me. My business is just, I'll just post on Instagram, or I'll just post on Facebook, and you know, expect magic to happen, because unfortunately it won't. And 9 times out of 10 what happens is that people then, you know, they get disappointed, and you know, their enthusiasm drops for their business, so they think, well, what's the point? So then their activity drops in their awareness stage, and that's just a spiral of going backwards and backwards and backwards, which you can obviously see yourself. So moving forward, it's definitely something that you have to consider. You have to get to know what a digital marketing and sales funnel looks like, understand that all of your customers will have to go through that. And stage 1 would be understand exactly who your target market is. Build amazing lead magnets, and I mean lead magnets, not just one lead magnet. You have to keep it varied, keep it fresh if you want to continually build your email list. And then it's a process of looking after those people who are in your email list, provide value, information, and just nurture those relationships. Don't spam them, don't be so salesy, just build relationships. And the rest kind of looks after itself. Then when you do have products, or you've got a sale to promote, or you're launching a new service, then you can build up the excitement for that. And then once you launch it, you've got people ready to actually listen to what you've got to say. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen. If you have any questions, please just reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer, or just help you sort of navigate how to get your own lead magnet sorted. But good luck, and I really, really do hope you take this on board for this year and make 2018 the best yet. Thanks, guys.